Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to be making pencil skirts with side ruffles. Without wasting much of your time, let's get into it. So guys, we'll be needing our fabric, our tape, our chalk, a measuring book, and scissors. So for this skirt you will be needing your waist circumference, your hip circumference, and the full length of the skirt. Now you will be folding your fabric into two, leaving the 2 inches allowance for zip allowance. We are going to be using the hip measurement, which is the highest measurement of the person. The hip measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches allowance for the. Now we are going to mark out the starting point. From there I'll be marking out the full length of this dress. Mind you, this dress will be together with the band. The band will not be different, so I'm gonna add like 2 inches for the band and 2 inches for the folding allowance. That is making it 4 inches allowance. So I'll be marking the hip depth, which is 7 inches, and I'm going to divide the waist circumference by 4. I'll mark it out and mark out 2 inches for the sewing allowance. Yes, and I'll do the same thing for the hip circumference divided by 4 and 2 inches sewing allowance. 2 inches sewing allowance is the basic allowance for sewing. Now I'm gonna, from the down area, I will be marking what I gain from the hip measurement minus 1 inches and plus the 2 inches sewing allowance. So if you have 10 in your hip measurement, you're gonna make it 9. You minus 1 inch from there. So because I'm making it together with the band, I will not be using the basic hip depth, which is 7. I'll add it to 9 because when I'll fold it, it will now be 7. I hope you understand. Then I'm retaking the measurements. Now I'll be connecting the dot together and I'll cut out. Now we are done cutting it out. Okay, after this I will be placing the material on my lining and I'll cut out the same thing for it, but I'll minus 2 inches from the length area. Now for the ruffle, I'll be cutting out as long as many fabric that you want it to be. It depends on how you want the ruffle to be. So I'll be cutting the full measurement times 2. You can make it times 3. Just make it how any long you want it to be, as long as it will still fit in those skirts. Now the wideness of it, the weight will be 5 inches, and I'm gonna mark it. I'll be marking it and cut it out, just like you're seeing me doing in the video. Like I said, the wideness will be 5 inches. After cutting it out, this will be for one side. I'll place it there and cut out for the other side. you can see how long it is. You can make yours longer than this. I'm done with the cutting. I'm done cutting the lining. Now I'm going to I'm be using the lining to do a turn up for it, because to weave the inside I want everything to be turned up. So I'll be placing the the lining on the front area. I'm done turning it up, and you can see how it's looking. It's looking quite neat. So after turning it up, you can go ahead and iron. Now the next thing to do, so this was where I opened it to turn it. I'm going to stitch it down there to make it look like as if I added band to it. You can see how it's looking after stitching it. I did it for all of them. Now the next thing to do is marking out our zip allowance. I'll fold the front part by 2, then I'll place it on the back part. The allowance that is there is for the zip allowance. You can see what I'm doing there. So I'll be using the chalk to mark it out. Mind you that allowance there is the zip allowance that we make earlier. So I'm done marking out this zip allowance. I'll go ahead and add that to it. From the zip allowance, I'll mark out 4 inches inward. Then from the waist area, I'll mark out 7 inches downward. That will be where the dart will be stopping. And I'll connect the dots. Now if you're making use of a white chalk, you can just place it together like I'm going to show you now, and that thing will automatically mark out in the other part. That is if you are using a white chalk, but I'm not using, so I'll go ahead and mark what I have here on the other parts also. So for the front part, I'm also going to do the same thing. From the middle, I'll mark out 4 inches, and from the waist, I'll mark out 7 inches. Then I'll connect the dots like I did for the back. And I'll do the same thing on the other parts. Now go and stitch it, sew it down. I'll first of all top stitch the lining and the fabric together before sewing it. So guys, I'm done with this stitching. I'm done with the sewing, and you can see how it's looking. So yours should also be looking like this. After that, I went ahead and do it on the back side. Now we are going to be attaching the zip. For the zip, we're gonna mark from the waistline downwards to 7 inches. Then I'll stitch it down because our skirt will be having a slit. So from the down area, we marked out 7 inches and stitch it. Then I went ahead and put the zip. Stitch before putting on the zip. Now I'm gonna measure out what we have for the length. So we have like 23 inches for the length, and this is the piece we got for the ruffle, you can go ahead and do a little pleat on it, or you can just go and, or you can try the gather method, but we did a little pleat on it. Anyone is okay. So for the length, will be the length of the skirt. I'm gonna place the back piece and the front piece together. Okay. Because I don't want it to just be a straight slit, I just did that there. You can see what I did there. For it not to be just straight slit. I don't know if you're seeing it good, but I just hope you can see it. This was what I was able to achieve. So now I'm going to take the measurements. I've placed the back piece and the front piece together. We're going to take the measurements of the person. From the waistline, we're gonna mark 7 inches for the hip depth. So we'll be dividing the the waist circumference by 2, and whatever I get, I mark it out and divide it by 2. I did the same thing for the hip circumference. Whatever you get, you divide it by 2 and mark it. Then for the down area, what you get from your hip, you minus 1 inch from it and connect the dots. I'll do the same thing for the other side. You can see how I connect the dots. I'll do the same thing for the other side. So for the ruffle, I'm gonna place it there and stitch it. But I'll use my pin to pin it down, just like what I'm doing. Now I'm going to my machine and I'll stitch it down. Then I will do the same thing for the other side also. So guys, I'm done with the fixing of the ruffle, and you can see that our skirt is coming out nice and good. You can actually fold the down area of this ruffle, or you can weave it, but me, I want to weave it. I'll be placing the back side for it, not like this, but like this. Now go down to the machine and stitch it. Your first stitching outside, stitch it a little bit inside your first stitching. You can stitch it on the same line. And this is how our skirt is looking. Isn't it looking yummy? So I'm super in love with this skirt and my clients love it well. So for the ruffle, I'll be making use of weaving machine to weave it down, and this is how it's looking. To the end of this video, and I hope you were able to learn something from this tutorial. I'm still learning, I'm getting better day by day.